Welcome to the place where the light dares not enter. Here shadows crawl, whispers breathe down your neck, and the darkness watches you even when your eyes are closed. Every story told here is not just a tale, it is a door that creaks open, leading you into nightmares that don't end when you wake. If you hear your name whispered in the silence, if you feel the cold breath on your skin as you listen, don't look around. Don't turn back, because once you've entered, there is no way out. Now, let the story begin. I remember the first time it began. Not with thunder, not with fire, not with the shrieking voices the movies warn you about. No, it began with silence, a silence so heavy that it pressed down on my chest like invisible hands. I thought it was just another restless night, but that silence, unnatural, suffocating, was the start of everything. My name is Daniel. I used to be ordinary, a teacher, a man who loved his family, someone who never believed in monsters. I believed in broken people, in tragedies, in the darkness of the human mind, but not demons. Never demons. That night, all of those beliefs were ripped away from me. It was late, well past midnight. The house was dark, my wife asleep beside me. I should have been resting too, but something kept my eyes open. Something made the air feel thick, as though I was drowning in shadows. And then, I heard it. A whisper. At first, I thought it was the creak of the floor, or maybe the pipes moaning through the walls. But no. It was a whisper, a voice. Low, broken, like the crack of burning wood. It said my name. Daniel. I sat up straight, my heart hammering. My wife didn't move, didn't stir, as if the sound hadn't touched her at all, but it touched me. It slid inside my ears and coiled deep into my skull. Daniel, I see you. The voice didn't come from outside. It didn't even come from the corner of the room. It came from inside me, from my chest, from the hollow space beneath my ribs. I wanted to scream. I wanted to wake my wife, to run, to tear open my skin if it meant ripping that sound out, but I didn't move. Something held me there, something cold, something ancient. And then, slowly, the air shifted. The shadows in the corner stretched. They bled across the walls like ink in water, and within that darkness, two eyes opened. Not human eyes, not even animal eyes. They were burning coals, alive with hunger. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't scream. I could only listen. Your body, the whisper growled, echoing through my bones. Your body will be mine. I remember clawing at my chest. I remember gasping, choking, trying to resist a weight that crushed me from within. The bed trembled, my wife still unmoving, locked in a sleep too deep, too unnatural. I was alone with it. And then it entered me. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't subtle. It was like being split apart from the inside. My veins burned. My head roared with screams. Hundreds, thousands of them, screams of people long dead, people forgotten. My mouth opened wide, wider than it should, and a sound poured out of me. A sound that wasn't human. A howl. Guttural, like the roar of something dragged out of hell. I fell to the floor. My body convulsed. The shadows swallowed me whole. When I woke, morning had come. Sunlight streamed into the room as if nothing had happened. My wife was beside me, still sleeping. For a moment, I wanted to believe it had all been a nightmare, but then I saw my arms. Scratches. Deep, raw, as if I had clawed at my own skin with inhuman strength. My fingernails were cracked, bleeding. My throat ached like I'd been screaming for hours. And when I tried to whisper my wife's name, no sound came. I had no voice. It took 3 days before my voice returned. And when it did, it wasn't mine. The words sounded heavier, darker, as though someone else spoke through me. My wife noticed. My students noticed. I laughed it off, pretended it was a cold. But inside I knew. The thing was still there. It hadn't left me. It had claimed me. At first it was small things, shadows that moved when I was still, doors that slammed without wind, nights when I woke standing in the kitchen, knives laid out before me though I didn't remember walking there. But then it grew bolder. One night, my wife woke to find me standing above her, my hands hovering over her throat. I wasn't choking her, but the look in her eyes told me everything. I had been seconds away. She cried, begged me to see a doctor, begged me to sleep in another room. I wanted to tell her the truth, to admit that something was inside me, something evil. But fear silenced me, fear of what it would do if I spoke. Because by then I had learned the most terrifying truth of all. It could hear my thoughts. It whispered back. It laughed when I prayed. It mocked me when I cried. And every night it grew stronger. The dreams were the worst. Dreams of fire and blood, of children screaming, of my own hands ripping through flesh. Dreams where I wore my own face but spoke with its voice. When I woke, I felt its hunger curling inside me, gnawing at me, begging to be released. I tried to fight. I went to church, clutching the cross so hard it cut into my skin. But the moment I stepped inside, the pain hit. It was like acid in my veins. My skin blistered, my body trembling. The priest touched my shoulder, and I remember I hit him. I struck him so hard he fell against the altar. And then the laughter came again, spilling from my mouth, though I wasn't the one laughing. I ran. I left the church bleeding, my hands burning with invisible fire. And in that moment I knew there was no hiding, no salvation. I was possessed, not by sorrow, not by madness, by a demon, and it wanted more than just me. That was just the beginning. What came after was worse, far worse. The demon didn't just live inside me, it used me, it fed through me, it hurt the people I loved most. And every time I fought, every time I tried to resist, it only sank deeper into my soul. I am not telling you this to frighten you, I am telling you because I have to. Because if you've ever felt that silence in the night, if you've ever heard your name whispered when you were alone, then you know. You know it isn't just your imagination. They're waiting, watching, searching for an empty space inside you, and when they find it, they will never let go. This is my story, the story of how a demon took me, and the story of how I tried to take myself back. The nights grew darker after that. Every evening as the sun slipped away, I felt it awaken inside me. It shifted, restless, hungry. My own body no longer belonged to me. I became a prison, and the prisoner wasn't me. It was it. I remember one night in particular. I woke in the living room, the lights off, the curtains drawn. My wife stood trembling in the doorway, her face pale with fear. I didn't understand why, until I looked down. I was holding a knife, and in front of me on the table lay a photograph of her. The picture was slashed to pieces. I dropped the knife at once, fell to my knees, begged her to believe me, that it wasn't me, that I wasn't the one doing these things. But how could I explain it? How could I make her understand that something unholy had crawled inside me? That night she left. She took her things, packed them with shaking hands, and whispered, "I don't know who you are anymore." And maybe she was right, because I wasn't me anymore. Days blurred into nights. I stopped going to work, my friends stopped calling, the house decayed around me, windows unwashed, floors covered in dust. But I didn't care. None of it mattered anymore. What mattered was the war inside me. The demon whispered constantly. It never stopped. It told me to burn, to break, to kill. It fed on my fear. Sometimes it mocked me with my wife's voice, calling my name the way she used to, soft and full of love. Sometimes it used the voices of children screaming until my ears bled. And sometimes it spoke as myself, my own voice taunting me, promising me that soon I would give in. The worst part was, I believed it. I tried everything, salt circles, holy water, crosses nailed to every wall. I even carved prayers into my skin as if words cut into flesh could keep it away. But the more I resisted, the more violent it became. My body wasn't my own. My reflection wasn't my own. When I looked in the mirror, my eyes gleamed red, my smile stretched too wide. Once, the mirror didn't even show me at all, it showed it. Tall, twisted, with a mouth that never closed. That was the night I stopped looking at mirrors. The possession reached its peak one stormy night. Rain lashed against the house, thunder shook the windows, and I felt it, so strong, so alive, that I knew the moment had come. It wasn't satisfied with whispers anymore. It wanted full control. I fought. God, I fought. I tied myself to the bed with ropes, nailed boards across the doors. I prayed until my throat tore, but it didn't matter. The ropes snapped like paper. The nails bent as if the wood was water, and then it entered me fully. I screamed as my spine bent, as my jaw cracked, as my fingers twisted. My body moved like a puppet, dragged by invisible strings. My head slammed against the wall, once, twice, until blood ran down my face. And then I laughed. Not me, not Daniel. The laugh of something ancient, cruel, hungry. The laugh of a demon wearing my skin. My body walked into the street, barefoot, bleeding, laughing. Neighbors peeked out their windows and gasped. Someone shouted my name, but my mouth only opened wider, letting that monstrous laugh pour out. I saw everything. I felt everything. But I couldn't stop it. I was locked behind my own eyes, screaming silently as it took me deeper and deeper into the night. It led me to the church, the same church I had fled from. The doors burst open on their own, the candles inside flickering as though in terror. The priest was there, the same man I had struck before. He lifted the cross, his voice shaking as he shouted prayers, and the demon inside me laughed again. I felt my body lunge at him, my hands wrapped around his throat, his eyes bulged, his lips gasping prayers as I squeezed, and inside me, my soul begged, "Stop. Please stop." And for the first time, it listened. Not because it had mercy, but because it wanted me to know I had no power. It let the priest go, dropped him, gasping, broken on the ground. And then it whispered inside me, loud and clear, "You see, Daniel? You are mine. You will hurt the ones you love. You will destroy everything, and you will watch yourself do it." That broke me. I fell to the floor, sobbing, shaking, my hands slick with the priest's blood. And for the first time since it began, I wanted to die. I thought death would save me, that if I ended myself, I could take it with me. But even that wasn't mine to choose. Every time I tried, it stopped me. Pills spilled from my hands. Knives dulled when they touched my skin. Noose ropes snapped before they tightened. I was immortal in the cruelest way, alive only to serve its hunger. Weeks passed, or maybe months. I don't remember anymore. My house became a tomb, filled with shadows that whispered and walls that bled. The demon no longer hid in silence. It screamed through me. My neighbors stopped coming near. No one dared. And then one night, my wife returned. She stood in the doorway, pale, trembling, her eyes full of tears. "Daniel," she whispered, "I can't stop thinking about you. I dream about you every night. Please, let me help you." I wanted to tell her to run, to leave, to never come near me again. But when I opened my mouth, it wasn't my voice that came out. It was the demon's, low, mocking, cruel. "He's gone," it said. "You're speaking to me now." Her face crumbled. She fell to her knees, sobbing, and inside, I screamed until my soul tore apart. I begged God, I begged anything that would listen. Take me instead. Don't let it touch her. The demon laughed, and then it gave me a choice. "One life," it whispered. "Yours or hers. Choose." I didn't hesitate. I screamed inside myself, "Take me. Take me." And for once it agreed. The pain was unlike anything I had ever known. Fire coursed through my veins. My body convulsed, my bones snapping like brittle twigs. I felt my soul being pulled, torn, ripped apart. My wife screamed my name, her hands clawing at me, but I couldn't feel her anymore. I was being dragged down into blackness, into a pit that smelled of ash and rotting flesh. I thought that was the end, that hell had claimed me at last. But then I woke. I was lying on the church floor. The priest stood above me, cross in hand, his voice hoarse from hours of prayer. My wife knelt beside me, her face streaked with tears, her lips whispering my name again and again. The demon was gone, or so they told me. That was years ago. People say I was saved, that the exorcism worked, that the darkness left me. But they're wrong, because at night, when the silence grows heavy, I hear it again, faint but clear. "Daniel, it isn't gone. It never left. It's waiting. Waiting for me to break again, waiting for me to open the door, and I know one day it will take me, and next time, there will be no escape."